Hey guys, I'm John Campy of AMC Movie News.
And I'm Dave Bautista playing Drax in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
And we just wanted to let you know that his new movie opens in AMC theaters everywhere on August 1st. You can get your tickets now by going to www.amctheaters.com for your theater showtime and, of course, your movie ticket information.
Go check it out. Guardians of the Galaxy, you're going to love it.
Hey everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Milva, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is AMC Movie News senior editor, Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Hey guys, we are back from Comic-Con. We survived. I think I might be sleepwalking right now. John, pretty much our whole crew is sick again, shocker. But we are here to talk about some of the reveals and the goodness, and joined by the lovely Miri and Ashley, who we missed at Comic-Con.
Yay. Also here, one half of Schmoes Know, Christian Harloff.
I am Christian Harloff, and I am the luckiest man on the planet.
Also at the table, AMC's very own Miri Jetikin.
I did not go to Comic-Con, hence the fresh face.
Fresh face.
Also here, AMC's Alicia Malone.
I'm so tired and I've lost my voice, but it was fun.
Well, coming out of Comic-Con, one of the biggest questions is always who won the weekend, Marvel or DC? Some of Marvel's big reveals included a teaser clip for Avengers 2, Corey Stoll being announced as Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 locking a July 28, 2017 release date with director James Gunn returning. Some of the biggest DC reveals include the first picture of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Batman's cape and cowl, and a teaser clip that showed an angry Superman and Batman from Zack Snyder's upcoming film. Amy Rose, who do you think took the weekend?
Honestly, I'm disappointed in both sides. Yeah. There were not any gigantic reveals. We were hoping that we could get the, DC Cinematic Universe lineup. We were hoping we would find out who, Doctor Strange is. We were hoping on both sides there were things I thought would be announced, and it was the perfect opportunity. My guess is Marvel is going to release some stuff at D23, their big convention. Yeah. So I get that, but DC, we're waiting on you. So out of all the reveals that Miss Ashley just listed and the things that we witnessed, sure, the Batman vs. Superman clip, I actually wasn't in Hall H, so I didn't get to see it, but it does sound pretty amazing. And I would say having, the Holy Trinity there and having the first look at Wonder Woman, and I mean, that right there is a bigger reveal than, Guardians 2. First reviews of the film, we're seeing it tonight, have been really positive, and so, that makes me happy that Gunn would be returning and all of that good stuff. But yeah, I really wanted more because last year, the big news was Batman vs. Superman. We didn't see that coming at all. And then they revealed, Age of Ultron, so where our adventure would go on that end. And this year I was just kind of like, okay, clips are cool and all that, but if I had to pick, I would say DC because we did get our first look at Wonder Woman, and I think she looks amazing. A lot of people are comparing it to Xena, Warrior Princess, and a lot of people aren't happy that it's muted colors instead of her traditional, colors that we like. But I just think it really goes in line with Zack Snyder's tone, and she looks like she's ready to kick some ass. So, yeah, I think it's pretty cool, and but I was hoping for a little bit more. Miri, you weren't there.
I'm the only one at this table that wasn't there, so my impression is very different than you guys. I wasn't on the front lines of this war, but from where I'm sitting, I feel like DC had more coming out the entire weekend. It wasn't just in film; it was like Arrow and Gotham. They were just in the news more. But I feel like Marvel made a bigger splash and they always do, because they're like the last big panel on Saturday, and Robert Downey Jr. coming out with the roses, and I heard a lot more about that one panel than I feel like I did all weekend with DC, even though DC was more of like a constant source of news. I like how Wonder Woman looks. I was really happy to see that they kept it toned down because she looks consistent with the other characters that they've released so far. But I agree with you, there really wasn't a lot to go on. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a costume. It's not, it's not more about any characterizations or any things we weren't expecting. So for me, I was more excited by what I was seeing from Marvel, but I feel like DC was more in my brain all weekend.
Alicia?
For me, I say Marvel wins just because sheer show poniness.
Yes, totally.
They bring out the really flashy cast of the Avengers, And even though, you know, I wanted to hear about Fantastic Four and I wanted to hear who's playing Doctor Strange, and for DC I wanted to hear who is in Justice League, and I wanted to hear more about Wonder Woman besides her costume, which I also think looks cool. I think Gal Gadot actually looks quite fierce. It's obvious that she has put on muscle for the role, and I think that is fantastic. But for me, just being the press, on the press lines, I mean, DC had Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, and Ben Affleck, and they did no press at all. I would have loved to talk to them. Marvel brings out everyone, and they all went down the press line. Me and Amy Rose were standing next to each other, and they had so much fun with each other that I think it was just a good time with Marvel, so that's why I choose them.
We definitely had a fun moment where we're speaking with Jeremy Renner, and then all of a sudden we get a little tap, and Mark Ruffalo's like, "Can I come in the mix?" And then Colby Smulders, and then Samuel L. Jackson. It was the four of them. Were just like, whoa.
And they have a great camaraderie, which is nice to see.
Yeah, Christian, what are your thoughts?
You know, I'm with you. First of all, that I think it was a letdown on both sides. I mean, The Rock's been teasing Shazam for the
And
last
he was there.
Come
He was at
on.
Comic-Con.
and we didn't get anything on that at all. So I was expecting that. I thought they were going to announce Ms. Marvel at the thing. They did, and I think that'll eventually come, but we didn't get that. We didn't get a lot of slates on either side. But I do think, hands down, DC won because I think we're all talking about press lines and people, you know, putting on a show and that stuff. We're talking fan reaction. Fans aren't really caring about that stuff so much. It's cool to watch them pop up, but the fans, all the fans are talking about is, well, Superman was up in the air and his eyes turned red. And that's what I was doing. I was excited. And the other thing, too, whether or not DC did it intentionally or not, they left a lot of leaked footage was out there for a bit. The fans got to see it. When you were going on YouTube and stuff, you could find that clip. You couldn't find the Avengers there at all.
I mean, I actually don't like bootlegs, but I did
But
see
you saw the
there's so many bootlegs.
And I don't encourage it whatsoever, but I saw it and it just, I freaked out about it. And it's just, everyone's talking about it. It looks like the old school Dark Knight. You have these guys back and forth and they're staring at each other and they're ready to fight.
And the bat signal.
Yes, it's everything you wanted for. That's what everyone was talking about because no one's seen anything else from the Avengers whatsoever. And even certain pictures that were released for Batman and how he looked side by side by some of the old school comics, that's what people were talking about fan-wise. So I think DC won.
Yeah, that's how I based my winning argument as well, because I agree. Nobody does a press line like Marvel, because the entire cast, and like especially like newbies, Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch and Aaron Taylor Johnson joining this crazy ensemble that's already like so impressive and larger than life. So from that perspective, but in terms of who brought it for presentation,
although Paul H went crazy for Marvel.
Absolutely.
They always do.
10 minutes.
10 minutes, right?
They absolutely did, but that's specific to San Diego. We know that because we were there.
See, I wasn't. That's why I'm saying all weekend DC. It was
all weekend.
That's
why you're very important to be here today, Mary. We appreciate
I feel good now.
All right, what's next, Ashley?
Legendary Pictures revealed that a new King Kong movie is on the way by way of a teaser clip in Hall H. Titled Skull Island, no writer or director are currently attached, but it will hit AMC theaters on November 4, 2016. It was also revealed that a Godzilla 2 is coming, with Gareth Edwards back at the helm. A monster mashup between Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah was teased. Christian, what do you make of this legendary monster news?
We talked about it not too long ago that this was going to happen, and I was excited for it then, and I'm even more excited for it now. I love King Kong. You know how I feel about Andy Serkis. Well, whether or not he probably won't return as King Kong, but if he did, it'd be pretty cool. I don't know if this is a prequel to King Kong or if this will be Son of Kong. I don't know, but either way, Skull Island to me is fascinating. It's another way to do a certain type of Jurassic Park. So that I think there's a lot of great possibilities that what you could do there. In regards to Godzilla 2, I loved the ending and the beginning of Godzilla 1, and there were parts of the middle that I could have done without. But I'm very excited to see part 2. Maybe they'll focus a little more on Godzilla, because Godzilla was one of the coolest monsters we've seen in a very long time. And the way that they handled that last fight scene, I mean, my God, I can't wait for it to come out of Blu-ray just to watch that scene over and over again. And Gareth Edwards knows the design. He knows the character. He knows exactly what he wants to do, and to be able to fight the classic characters. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, it is supposed to be an origin story, like the first, apparently. We'll find out more.
Okay.
So I think that would be really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for origin stories. We were talking about this on the mailbag.
No one's done that either for Kong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it would be great. And it poses the very interesting question, now that, you know, Universal and Legendary are together, having these two properties under the same umbrella, are we going to get King Kong versus Godzilla?
Yeah.
And it feels like it's going to be a big fat yes. It seems like it would be a
think
wasted
so?
opportunity.
The only reason why I say they might not do it, depending on how big they make Kong, Godzilla is huge compared to Kong.
Scale
It
is
won't even
Yeah.
be. Yeah, it's like it would be a really tough fight.
But look at the Batman Superman fight. Technically, I don't know. I think it's a very interesting thing, and
Yeah.
everyone wants it. But regardless, I thought Godzilla 2, Godzilla, we haven't seen 2 yet, was very, you know, stylistic, tonally really cool. Gareth Edwards was so, like, developing his characters. You have to forgive me today. I'm doing the best I can. He was developing his characters, which is usually lacking in those, but so much so that we didn't get enough action.
Yeah.
So if they have Mothra and all other amazing creatures and the awesome characterization, then that's exactly the Godzilla I want to see. So that really actually excites me.
Yeah.
But I do think we're going to eventually get
That'd be cool.
the
I love
brawl.
it.
What do you think, Alicia?
Yeah, I would love to see the brawl, and it's good to see that Toho is coming to the party. You know, they own Godzilla, and rightly so. They're very careful about their character. So they lent out Godzilla for the one movie just to test it out. It obviously did really well, and they were happy with the results. So now we're getting Godzilla 2. And then it's interesting that we're getting King Kong, because those rights have been up in arms for a long time. I feel so sorry for the creator of King Kong, who thought he was lending out the character to RKO for one movie, and he lost the rights completely.
I know.
And then, of course, they went between RKO and Universal, and now Legendary. All those other characters are Toho as well. So I like that Legendary is becoming a monster studio.
Yeah.
Not to be
literally,
confused with
figuratively.
Universal's monsters that they're doing as well.
Well, Universal owns Legendary now, so
Yeah.
it's really cool to me that they are going to bring all of these creatures together. And I think it's really cool because the Universal monster movies are this sort of nostalgic thing that I think film lovers have in their back pocket, and everybody can go to and say, well, this is my favorite, and this is my favorite, but nobody's really touched it. And now in this era where all these studios are making these huge franchises, you've got Marvel with Disney, and you've got DC with Warner, I feel like Universal is now wanting to step into that spotlight financially and also culturally. They just want to be part of the conversation. So.
And it's really smart to do it by way of monsters, opposed to competing with the other
Like
properties.
superheroes, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really smart. All right, guys, we could simply talk about all of the Comic-Con stuff for ages, and throughout the rest of the week, there'll be other little tidbits, I'm sure. But for now, we're going to jump into buy or sell. Miss Ashley has a couple other items picked out going on in the world of movie news. A lot of them are still Comic-Con related, and we're simply going to say if we buy or sell it.
The first teaser trailer for Mad Max Fury Road was released this weekend. The film stars Tom Hardy in the title role, as well as Charlize Theron and Nicholas Hoult. Mary, buy or sell the first trailer for Mad Max Fury Road?
I mean, if I could take a trailer and like sink my teeth into it and tear it apart because I love it so much, that's what I would do with this. I buy this so hard. I'm so excited for this. First of all, George Miller, as they say in this trailer, is the mastermind behind this franchise.
Sure is.
What a badass. The guy's like, you know what? It's time for a Mad Max reboot, and you know what? I'm going to do it. And I think that's so brilliant because it looks and feels like Mad Max. The world is expanded. It's made more contemporary for an audience today to feel like it's relevant, and yet it feels exactly like a Mad Max movie should feel. Tom Hardy is like casting genius. I couldn't have thought of a better person to play Max. And I love that there's this like band of warrior women that are like so raw and savage that are fighting with this other, and it's just so cool. The story is big, the scope is huge, and just to talk about the trailer, it's so beautifully edited. I mean, it could have felt like just a throwaway music video, but it has so much depth and so much characterization and very little words. You know, there's not a lot of talking. You don't need a lot of talking because the world just presents itself so beautifully. So I buy this 100 times over with my teeth, and also
with her teeth,
and bring a clean pair of underwear to that movie because my God. That movie's insane.
Damn.
Damn. Bring fresh pair of undies, guys.
Those should have been Comic-Con advice. It's a tremendous, huge buy. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Like you were mentioning with Miller, how often do you get this that happens when there are reboots and remakes to have original people involved in this process? That's why, the thumbs up, because you know you're going to get a lot of the same, not the same material per se, but the same feel and tone because this guy knows how it's supposed to be. So, and you clearly tell that in this trailer. And I think in the Comic-Con trailer they showed a lot more, because there was a lot of buzz. You talk about buzz on certain properties. This one was the one. It was Batman v Superman, and then it was Mad Max. People were talking about Mad Max, and the fact that Tom Hardy in this particular trailer. He's not in it that much. He's in it a lot, but not so. It's not. They don't rely on him for this trailer to work. It's that opening where you see those maniacs chasing him down the line, and I go, oh, I remember. That's how it's gonna look. That's how it used to look. Okay, Charlize Theron looks badass, and I cannot wait to find out how they're going to execute it, what differences they will do from the first one, and what we're gonna see if we ever saw how the apocalypse kind of came to be.
I love that trailer. Bye. This was probably, if not my favorite reveal out of Comic-Con, because this movie has been such an interesting thing to follow because it was so just in the back burner. Everyone kept getting pushed and delayed and all this, and then all of a sudden it's here and it is ready to fight. I loved the trailer. I thought it was pretty much as good as a trailer can get. And I usually don't buy that into that because they can be deceiving. In this case, I think we know what we're gonna get. And I love the original creator. I've always hoped that, you know, all these sequels and remakes and everything, because the technology that's available to them now compared to when, you know, it first came out, like he basically gets to say, my story is still flawless, but look what I can do now with effects and this. And Tom Hardy is the perfect person to take over from Mel Gibson. And Charlize Theron, I mean, we're getting such a fun ride. That trailer is amazing, and I love the final scene. And then it's like Mad Max, you know, like it's just, it was so good. I literally have goosebumps.
I can't even talk about it.
So I loved it. What did you think, Alicia?
Yeah, huge buy for me. I was worried about this film, not about George Miller, Dr. George Miller, because he is a mastermind, like the trailer says, and it's great that he's getting to bring his story to the big screen again. But I was just worried about it because of all the delays. You know, it's been in production since 2003. They filmed in 2012, and then it's kind of been gone for so long, and then suddenly we saw that Entertainment Weekly cover, and that got me excited. But this trailer, the best trailer I've seen all year, it gave me chills. It was so exciting. It didn't give away too much.
No, it's gorgeous.
And it was a great mixture of practical effects, a lot of car crashes that look like they actually hurt, and then a lot of great special effects. Tom Hardy is a brilliant actor, Charlize Theron as well, with her robot arm, super cool. And I am trying to figure out, there's only a few lines that he says in the trailer. I'm trying to figure out whether he's doing an Australian accent or not. Sounds like a mixture, Australian or English. I can't wait to see more. I'm so excited.
Woohoo! What's next?
The first The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 teaser trailer has been released. The film sees the return of Katniss Everdeen, played by Jennifer Lawrence, and hints at the rebellion that is quickly brewing. Alicia, buy or sell the first Mockingjay teaser?
I buy this because this is the first time we're seeing actual film footage after those great propaganda teaser trailers that we've seen over the past few weeks. I love that we get to see Katniss Everdeen properly, and she's become the face of the rebellion. We get to see Julianne Moore and Natalie Dormer really quickly, but my heart kind of sunk a bit seeing Philip Seymour Hoffman in his final role. I mean, it just reminds you again and again how brilliant he is. But I like this teaser because, again, it doesn't give us too much, but we get an idea of the movie, and it looks like it's more post-apocalyptic than the previous ones, darker.
I loved this teaser trailer. I did see it at Comic-Con. Lionsgate built out this amazing, like, Hunger Games house type of thing that you walk in and there's activations and there's the holograms you could take with Peeta and Joanna. It was an experience. And then you go upstairs and it's a completely whited out scenario and you're watching it on your Samsung device and everything's just like all the people from the Capitol and like they went all out. So bravo, that was a really fun experience. But I have read the books. I'm obsessed with this trilogy, and what Francis Lawrence has done, these are not just good adaptations from a book. These are incredible films. The last film was amazing for Hunger Game fans or non-Hunger Game fans. And again, like I'm just blown away. And for all those who have read the book, that Comic-Con teaser trailer, like poster. It's so good, and it is on. The rebellion is coming, my friends. Buckle up.
Yeah, it's a big buy for me as well, and I'm a fan of the books. I've read all the books. I'm still concerned in regards to them making Mockingjay into 2 movies. Because I understood when they did it with Harry Potter, that book was really long. This was a short book. So I'm just worried sometimes that they're just making 2 movies to make 2 movies to get more box office.
Of course.
But the trailer alone, and to Amy Rose's point in regards to Lawrence coming on, because I love, like I said, I love the books. I didn't love the first movie. I thought that when Lawrence took over as a director in the second movie, stepped it up, captured the tone of this the same way that the books, that I felt when I was reading the books. So by seeing this, I'm back on that track, and I know what's going to happen, and it's set up in my mind when I was looking, oh, I wonder what that would look like. Oh, those teaser images, that's what it looked like. And I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the rebellion. Bring it on.
Yeah, I buy this also to sort of take the more 30,000-foot view of it. I just feel like in general, this is a really well-realized franchise. I feel like aesthetically, you get a complete sense of the world and the characters. I agree, Philip Seymour Hoffman kind of made me shed a tear a little bit. But I'm also excited to see him in this film because I think he did a great job in the first 2 films, and I'm excited to see how they're going to manage his role. I'm looking forward to seeing how they're doing. I'm sure they're going to do something respectful and wonderful. And I just like the look of, like you said, the world looks darker and it looks more. It's evolving, but it still looks consistent with
it's a progression.
It's a good progression, and these are really smartly done.
Yeah.
And it's so easy for a big franchise like this to play to the lowest common denominator, and I don't feel they've done that throughout. I feel like they've kept it really smart, really detailed. They've stayed true to the books where they could, and I'm looking forward to it.
And Jennifer Lawrence, like, I would argue that the last film was her best performance yet, even better than Winter's Bone, where she got the nomination, or, I mean, continuously. She's been nominated a ton at this point. But she just shows so much range and emotion, and I'm fascinated with watching her career flourish, and I think this is just going to be a great film. All right, what's next?
The weekend box office numbers are in, and Scarlett Johansson's Lucy took the #1 spot, grossing over $44 million. Coming in second was The Rock's Hercules, bringing in $29 million, and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes rounding out the top 3 with $16.4 million. Amy Rose, buy or sell these box office results?
I'll buy them. Scarlett Johansson is very hot right now. I also think this was
always been hot.
No, but I'm saying in terms of like the appeal, she's always been hot. She's pretty much the epitome of hot women. But
even in The Horse Whisperer, wasn't she in The Horse Whisperer? No,
probably.
it was someone else. She was like a little girl.
But it was very strategic of them
cute.
to release this during Comic-Con week because obviously Black Widow, what she's done, and I think this does show there is a high demand for female-fronted action movies. So I'm excited about this. Hercules. I mean, Dwayne is still very, very loved. We love The Rock, but I would just say, go ahead, Christian. He's excited.
No, I just was going to go with your point. I think the reason that I buy these box office is because I think Marvel had a lot to do with Hercules not doing as well as it did. And the reason I say that is because Black Widow, in her own movie, regardless if it's a Black Widow movie, you're like, well, wait a minute, I really liked her in Captain America 2. I really liked her in Avengers 2.
She's great.
She can handle action.
I embrace her as an action star now. I'll go watch this. So
and
that
it's
makes
Luc
sense.
Besson.
Well, I think that less so on the for film fans, absolutely. But for the regular audience member, that's what they were going there for. And then if you're going to spend your money on Hercules, you're like, well, do I spend it on Hercules or do I spend it on Guardians of the Galaxy, which comes out next week? So a lot of people made this help back and said, you know what, I'm either going to see Black Widow fight in a movie, or I'm going to hold off and watch Guardians and Brett Ratner.
I mean, I also want to. I'm going to buy these numbers also because I'm happy that Apes is still in the top 3.
Still on it, baby.
Because right here, everybody.
One of my favorite movies of the summer. No question.
I think it was. I still stand by the fact that this is one of the best movies of the year. I loved this movie so much, and the fact that the word of mouth has, I think, at this point, propelled this movie to maintain its status in the top 3. It's so well deserved, and if you haven't seen it yet, I mean, I can't imagine anybody hasn't seen it at this point. Go see it again. I don't know. I feel like this is a movie I would probably go see that again before I would go see Hercules.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of factors that play into it. I think people have fatigue when it comes to sword and sandal epics. I just don't think anyone's that interested in it. Scarlett Johansson, as you guys said, she has massive star power. At the Avengers panel, the audience booed when they knew that she wasn't going to be there because everyone really wanted to see her. She's such a great actress, great action hero. I also want to point out this is the 5th female-fronted film of the year to win the box office. And 50% of the audience were teenage girls and women, and that section of the audience is becoming more and more powerful. So I think hopefully Hollywood will take a look at this summer, which is box office has been down 20% this summer.
It's a bad summer.
So maybe they'll have a look at it and they'll go, hey, there is a market. Women obviously want to see other women in movies. They're becoming really powerful at the box office. maybe we should create some really interesting lead roles for these actresses and give them a go.
You know what's interesting about what you're saying too is that if you look at the other film this summer that brought out that audience, it was Fault in Our Stars, which is completely different than this. So it's not just about like having women in main roles, it's about creating like diverse stories and dynamism in the box office.
Absolutely. All right, guys, before we get into mailbag, we are going to have time for a couple live Twitter questions. So be nice to Miss Ashley. And what is on the floor for today for mailbag?
Davis, the 61er, writes, "Hey guys, really like watching you guys and girls. Question, who do you think is the most famous bad director? M. Night Shyamalan or Michael Bay, or any others that you guys have in mind? I think it would be Michael Bay just because his movies are more of a blockbuster type. Thanks."
I really like this question.
I love it.
I like this question a lot. Basically, I think that they could both, yeah, it's great. So
Looking at the picture,
Michael Bay, I think, is considered more of a sellout, but he is a pretty solid director. I mean, look at his other track records with Bad Boys and those kind of films. I just think that, you know, he's become money hungry in people's eyes, that he'll just turn out whatever and whatever. But M. Night has pretty much had one hit with The Sixth Sense, and which was fantastic. Everyone's like, what? And some people liked Unbreakable, some didn't. But pretty much it became flop after flop after flop. The thing with Michael Bay is people will still go see his movies. Hundreds and millions of dollars prove that that's the case. And M. Night, his films have consistently flopped. So I really think it's pick your poison. But I would say that M. Night, I'm still waiting for another good hit, while Bay, I know he has the talent. I just think that I haven't seen it for a while. Christian, I know you have some opinions on this one.
I do. I loved the question when I saw it this morning. And the question of who's the more famous bad director. If you're asking, again, this seems to be the theme of the show, but if you're asking film fans in general, I think it's a push. Meaning that, you know, they both, well, Bay's pretty bad, does this stuff, Shyamalan here. If you're asking the overall opinion of moviegoers, average, the person that's just sitting in the middle of Middle America or wherever, I think it's Shyamalan. Who is more, like I asked my sister-in-law this morning, who's not a huge movie fan, I said, which one of these directors do you know? She said, oh, I remember the Shyamalan name. She did that Scary Movie thing, right? Because people remember Michael Bay movies very well. It's that people in our business love to, you know, myself included, crack on Bay, and he just likes to shoot women's butts and explosions,
well,
you know?
I mean, you know,
but that's the thing. So
it sells.
It sells. But as far, you forget that when Shyamalan came out, they were touting him as the next Spielberg.
I know.
You remember that. When you're on Time Magazine, is this the next you remember? Spielberg, you definitely remember. And I actually think he had 3 big movies that were good. I thought that,
Signs,
I thought that The Sixth Sense, obviously one of the major twists of all time. People remember you for that. And then you have both Unbreakable and Signs. Those 3 movies.
Signs was so bad in the end, though. I just can't get over it.
I actually really loved it, but the fact that they're all those 3 movies were movies that made he was a superstar director, and then he fell out of grace.
And
so
again, and again, and again.
Yeah, so people remember him more. You remember
think?
that Bay did Armageddon, but you don't always remember that it was him.
To take your film thing, your film fan versus your regular moviegoer, when I read this question, it's such a great question, by the way, but one of it started to make me think about, like, what is a bad director, really? Because a lot of people will look at Roger Corman, who is the most, in the film world, famous bad director, but he started these incredible careers. So it's interesting when you start to ask yourself, well, what is a bad director? How do we define what's bad? Is it someone who makes flops, like M. Night Shyamalan has made so many, or is it
the Razzies a lot?
Or is it or is it someone who makes tons of money, but like you said with Michael Bay, like kind of a sellout, or his movies don't really appeal to anyone that's, you know, whatever. I just feel like it made me think about what I think is bad. Like, what is a bad director? It's usually, for me, it's like someone whose movies I consistently think are not good.
Well, for me, a bad director is someone I don't remember. If I see a movie and I have no idea who directed it, if they didn't put their stamp on it at all, if it's just paint by numbers, that to me is a bad director. I will say in their defense, at least both these guys have a very distinct style.
Absolutely.
You know when they direct something and they try something, they just find their one thing and they do it over and over and over again. I think Michael Bay has had more hits, and he is a good director. He's just become a parody of himself because he's relied so much on his same style. M. Night Shyamalan needs to get away from that twist thing he was doing, and he hasn't had a hit in a long time. So out of those 2, I'd choose Shyamalan as being the worst director, but I will say that at least you know that they've done their films. I hate when you just watch a movie and you have no idea who directed it.
Of a million other things. Yeah, I agree.
It's a great question.
Yeah, it is. We liked it.
Yeah.
What's next?
Tyler Moore writes, "Hey AMC Movie Talk crew, I love your show and it's been part of my daily routine for over a year now. My question has to do with Mission Impossible 5. So, back when Star Wars 7 was announced to have a December 18th, 2015 release date, Warcraft moved off that same release date fairly quickly. But Mission Impossible still stayed on its Christmas Day 2015 release date. Shouldn't it move? They target the same audience, and obviously Star Wars will beat it because people will still be seeing Star Wars over Christmas. Should Mission Impossible 5 move its release date so it doesn't bomb? Thanks."
Thank you for the question. While they might have quote-unquote similar audiences, a lot of people are out for Christmas break. So that is a very popular time. These are also, I mean, not to say that either of these, Star Wars is probably going for some Academy Awards. I don't think Mission Impossible is going to, but that's when we start seeing these films, maybe for effects and other things. But I just think that Mission Impossible has such a built-in franchise as well. It's the 5th one. Obviously, they're making money. Tom Cruise still has star power. Edge of Tomorrow wasn't a good indication of that. We were all pretty upset about it because it was a phenomenal film. But he still does have a pull, especially internationally. And this franchise has a very, very built-in audience. Then you have Star Wars. It's not going to compete. Star Wars will take #1, obviously. It brings so many generations and like everything into it. But I don't think it's a bad thing. Now, a film like Warcraft is a little more niche. So that did make sense to me to move it because you have the gamer, you have the Duncan Jones fans, you have all those. That's great. But these two are huge franchises, and I think they're both going to make a very, very pretty penny. What do you think, Alicia?
Yeah, I think they're both going to do well. I think everyone's going to see Star Wars opening weekend. So I think it would be a bad decision to have it in the same weekend, but to have it separately, especially with the Christmas holidays and vacation time, I think people will still go and see it. I think everyone's going to see Star Wars opening weekend and then again and again and again, but then hopefully go and see Mission Impossible. I loved Ghost Protocol.
Me too.
That was really, really fantastic. So I'm looking forward to Mission Impossible 5.
Me too.
I like Star Wars. I'm not a huge Star Wars nerd. I will go see it opening weekend, and I'll definitely be seeing this one too.
I've seen a few Star Wars films.
You're somewhat familiar with the franchise.
But I agree with both you guys, and I think what's going to happen is after that first weekend, Star Wars is that kind of movie that, especially for me, I'll see it after it comes out on that Monday or maybe that Wednesday or that Thursday, and then I'll go, oh wait, Mission Impossible's coming out too, I'll go see that. And it is that time of year to where you say, oh, there's a couple really big franchise movies coming out. I'll plan around it. Star Wars fans, if they're Mission Impossible fans, will see both for sure.
And I'm a fan of both. Mary?
Yeah, I think everybody's basically said it. I think this is a time of year, it's sort of like the summer. It's a time of year where everybody's off. They want to see more than one movie. I know during Christmas holidays is the best time of year for me to see movies because everything shuts down and I can actually go and be a moviegoer and see movies like a fan and not just a person in the industry. But I think, like to your point, they are a similar audience, but I do feel like for the people that maybe aren't as into Star Wars, whoever they might be, you know, Alicia, people who maybe aren't as into the franchise, they want to see action and they want to see thrills, but they don't necessarily want science fiction. They just want a straight up and down spy thriller kind of thing. They want a fun romp in the movies. They're going to go see this. People that maybe aren't as into contemporary spy thriller type of movies, but are really into science fiction and Star Wars are going to, you know, I think there's going to be something for everyone.
God, I wanted a Star Wars reveal at Comic-Con. I know they said they weren't going to, but just a little tidbit.
What about when Marvel said, now for our friends in London? Everyone was like, it's just Guardians 2. Damn it.
Way to have us wrapped around your finger, guys. All right, Ashley, we have time for a couple quick ones. What's the first live question you picked out?
Vega Obama writes, what movie this year is on your guilty pleasure list and what movie was excellent but you could only watch it once?
Oh.
Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna come out and tell you that guilty pleasure, I love dance movies. I love them. I hate the paint by numbers rom-coms. I hate them, but cheesy dance movies, I love it. I don't care how bad the dialogue is. I'm secretly a hip hop dancer in my heart, so I love that stuff. So Step Up is really fun. Those kind of films are really fun to me. So that's my guilty pleasure, but I feel no guilt at all about it. Mary, what about you?
I can't think of a guilty pleasure off the top of my head because there's so many movies coming out in the next like 3 months that I'm so excited for, like Interstellar and.
That's not a guilty pleasure.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't feel bad about any of it. I mean, I have some guilty pleasures that are like in my Blu-ray collection. But,
Give us one. Give us one.
Well, we were just talking about Twister because Into the Storm's coming out. Twister is a total guilty pleasure of mine.
Into the Storm might be a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, I love tornado movies. I love storm movies.
I love natural disaster movies.
Yeah, so and natural disaster movies. A Deep Impact to me is like I cry every time. That's another, I guess, guilty pleasure. And So I can't really think of any off the top of my head.
Well, we're talking guilty pleasures for the year, this year in general.
Yeah.
I'd say, I know a lot of people are looking forward to Turtles, but for me, I've been kind of downplaying and say it's good, and I started to say, like, I kind of really want to see it. Like, I'm more and more excited to see it, even though I don't know if it's going to be that great. I do want to see it a lot, actually. So that might be one. It might be a guilty pleasure for me. You know, there's a lot of hardcore fans out there. And as far as the movie that I saw once that I really thought was good, and I don't know if I can watch it again, and that would be Fault in Our Stars. Because, again, I have a daughter.
Traumatic.
Painful.
Very traumatic.
And those actors did such a good job, but once was good.
Yeah.
You know.
Guilty pleasure, Alicia?
Guilty pleasure for me, I don't know if this counts, but I love Michel Gondry, director of Eternal Sunshine, Spotless Mind, and he did a film called Mood Indigo, which is a French movie with Audrey Tautou, and it's ridiculous.
You guys, none of these are guilty pleasures.
No, but I know
that's
why
why
a lot of
it's
people
hard.
are saying this movie isn't that great. It hasn't got fantastic reviews, and yeah, there's a lot of things I could pick about it, but I just loved it because I just wanted to go and see a French movie that was wonderful and just whimsical and quirky and weird, and that's what I got. So that was a guilty pleasure for me.
Audrey Tautou is so charming.
Film that I saw once, but I can't see again. I don't know.
I just
wanna
saw.
say-
I saw it once, and I don't need to see it again. Is actually Magic in the Moonlight, the new Woody
Oh,
Allen.
Woody
movie.
Allen.
It's very cute and whatever.
But
It's-
whatever.
I don't
I
need
would
to
say
see
I
it
wouldn't
ever
see.
again.
Oh no, I can't say
There
that.
you go.
I wouldn't say Transformers again.
Okay, let's take one more quick one, Ashley.
Sia Patel writes, buy or sell a Harry Potter prequel series following Dumbledore's rise to power and prominence.
Bye. Bye. Yeah, bye.
Anything
Buys
from Harry
across the
Potter,
board?
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Okay, that was a unanimous way to end our show. Okay, we're all out of time, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today, our first day back from Comic-Con. I would like to thank my wonderful panel sitting to my left, Alicia Malone. Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Alicia Malone.
Christian Harloff, Apes on Horses, Special Man.
That's right. Well, you can do Twitter at Christian Harloff, Instagram at Christian Harloff. And by the way, just real quick, everybody that came out to see us at the meet and greet,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
so cool to
thank
meet all you
you.
guys. You guys are really, really awesome. It was very humbling. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The lovely Mary Jetikin, where can people find you?
I'm sad now that I wasn't there and I
Just
didn't get
kidding.
to
It's
meet.
terrible.
Well, I love you guys too. You can find me Miri the Jedi, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Our gatekeeper for today, the lovely Ashley Mova. Where can people find you?
On Twitter and Instagram at Ashley Mova. Have a good one, guys.
Great, and yeah, we had a really great time. I've said this before we left. We so rarely get to interact with you guys, so we really appreciate it. We'll try to do something in LA so you get to meet our other wonderful ladies, Ashley and Mary, on our team. So thank you so much for all the support. We'll have much more Comic-Con coverage up in the next couple days. Don't forget to like us, share us, see a movie, lots of fun things out, and hopefully John and the rest of the team will be healed up so you'll get to see their faces this week as well. I'm Amy Rose with AMC Movie News. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.